Hey everybody, welcome to September Q&A. I'm Tonya. I'm the Wealth Coach Manager here at Tardus. We're gonna hang out for a minute while we wait for some more people to join on. Welcome, welcome. And I want to welcome my dear colleague, Kimberlee Kennedy.
Hi, Tonya. How are you today?
I'm good. How are
Wow,
you?
I'm excited.
Good. Where's everybody checking in from? I see Aloha. Oh, San Diego, good.
Connecticut,
Connecticut,
East Coast joining us. I love it.
yes.
Awesome.
Oh, Canada. Welcome, Canada. And Tennessee, Florida, fantastic. I'll say I'm chiming in from France, which is exciting as well. New Mexico. How about
And
you,
I
Jeanette?
am I'm standing in Utah today. My location sometimes changes, but today I am Mountain Standard Time enjoying the beautiful fall weather here. Oh, Arizona. It's hotter in Arizona than it is here for sure. Oh, I wonder how many people have been here before. Oh, probably yes, she's close by. So, if you've been to a Tardus event, the Q&A before, how about you drop a 1 if you have been here before, if this is not your, well, I guess actually let's do it the other way. If you have not been to a Q&A before, let's drop a 1 in the chat so we can kind of see where everybody's understanding is. Awesome. Oh, perfect. Oh, excellent. We have a lot of new people. That's great.
Good, good. And you guys, right, we're here to answer questions today, so please throw your questions our way. Put them in the Q&A. They're easier to find. They're a little bit harder for us to overlook. So if you see the questions portion at the bottom, if you drop your questions in there, we will for sure get to them. If they're in the chat, then we'll try to get to them, and we'll try to circle back at the end to make sure that we answer all of them. But if you throw them in the Q&A, then they're easier to find.
Yeah. Do we want to know? I wonder, has anyone seen Tanisha's AI, her webinar recently on the 3-day implementation? It was excellent. So if you did get a chance to jump on that, maybe drop a 3 in the chat so that we can see I've been engaged with Tardus. Yeah, that was a great one.
Mirage, great. Yeah, it was a
Yes.
3-day event all on using AI and investing in ways it can help you, and ways that you would avoid using AI for. It doesn't replace the human nuance.
No, absolutely.
Ah, Chris, you were discussing it with Desmond. Fantastic. Desmond is another of Kimberlee and I's colleagues. So he is another wealth coach at Tardus. I'll clarify, we are the wealth coach team. So when you come and you schedule an initial strategy call with anybody at Tardus, you end up with our team. We will guide you through the process of what it looks like to work with us at Tardus and what all of that looks like for where you are personally. No two strategies are put together there are no duplicates. Nobody's coming from the same place, nor trying to get to the same place, nor working with the same detail. So always having your own personal foundation built is key to success.
Absolutely.
All right, let's dive in.
Okay, are we let's just start with some introductions, right? So, like Tonya said, I'm a wealth coach with Tardus. I've been with Tardus for 2.5 years. The Tardus and the Income Snowball has made a significant impact in my life just by providing peace of mind and also the support that comes each step of the way. But I would say even more impactful is seeing the steps that my clients have made. Coming from a traditional background, I got my degree in finance. I was an auditor for a long time, so we just weren't taught the traditional way of financing. So finding Tardus and guiding clients through that, from a client looking to get married, and his father-in-law was like, "You're not marrying my daughter with that much student loan debt." So we worked significantly over a year to cut that down by, I say, it was at least $80,000 in 1 year, from a widow wondering if she should take Social Security to help with retirement, and an investor adding to their real estate portfolio faster than they could have imagined. So it's fun for me to see clients make real changes in their life and their financial world.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been with Tardus as a client and otherwise since 2017. I will vouch for the value of what we do and the impact that we make in everyday lives. I mean, for those with little cash flow, 500 a month in cash flow, to those with very large amounts of cash flow or large portfolios, right? We are a personal advocate for you. But let's dive in. We're going to run through some things so you have a basic understanding. If this is your first interaction with us at Tardus, we're going to run through some basic things about what we do, what this looks like. Give us 10 minutes, and then we're going to dive into answering whatever questions you have for us. Nothing is off limits. So,
Yes. Okay, so what is the Income Snowball, right? Let's start off with Tardus is a wealth coaching company, right? We teach you the Income Snowball Strategy. It's a patented system that creates passive income from your monthly cash flow. So we're basically snowballing your existing monthly cash flow into passive income streams, a practical, sustainable system for wealth.
sorry, I was typing in the chat to say, hey, Chris, can you drop that in the Q&A? That would be fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah, because I want to make sure that your question gets answered. And
Yes,
here at
absolutely.
Tardus, we do things, yeah, no worries. We do three things really well, right? Why does somebody need an income snowball? Well, the obvious answer is you can turbocharge your retirement. You absolutely can, but please never think of this solely as a retirement account. The magic in the mix is really what you can do with your strategy in the meantime, right? You can expand your standard of living. You can fast track pay off debt, as Kimberlee had just mentioned. These, right, this is the proof in the pudding. Being able to use your strategy now, take a discount on expenses, car repairs, or expected expenses, right? Daughter's wedding, whatever those look like, the family vacation. So we do these three things really, really well. And why are we doing this? We do know that we have three major problems that are getting bigger and bigger, right? We have increasing debt as a nation. It's at its highest level now, per household. Okay. We're up against that, in addition to what it is governmentally. Okay. The falling value of the dollar. If you haven't noticed, things are increasing in price. Your
Mm.
dollar is spreading thinner and thinner. I see no reason to expect this to change. If you have a different perspective, drop it in the chat. I would love to hear how the dollar is going to change directions. But that being said, it costs more dollars to even maintain our standard of living. And people are living longer. This is, right, arguably, this is a good problem to have. Thank goodness
Mm.
we have extended lifespans now beyond what they were. All the while, What does that mean? It means that it takes more money to be able to retire and stay retired. We have a lot of clients coming to us because they have, right, they have found out or they are outliving what they have set aside. Okay, great. Let's reallocate. Let's create cash flow so that we can remix it up and make those funds last longer, or better yet, still build your legacy. So what do we have for
Yeah.
options? You can work more, change more hours for dollars. That's an obvious possibility. There's only so many hours in the day, and time is a limited resource. You could start a business, could potentially be another form of exchanging more time for money, or invest, create more income.
All right. So how does the income snowball work, right? So Tardus basically teaches you how to build cash flow. We use leverage, just enough leverage at the right time to stack your investments, right? So you might start out with a $5,000 line of credit, bringing you approximately $160 per month. And then less than 5 months later, that line of credit's paid off, ready to use again, and begin our second investment, bringing us an additional $160 per month, basically stacking that in such a short period of time. You'll see in this example, we're creating over $640 per month of income coming in less than a year. I don't know other investments that can do that, but in a safe and controlled way. But stacking those investments and working with your coach is what allows us to create so much income to help you towards your goals in such a short amount of time.
Okay, what we have here at Tardus, we have been doing this for 22 years. Up until here, right, we have grown by referral only. We have grown organically. Why are we doing this? Right? We don't know what's coming. I don't know anybody who can predict, to a T what's coming. But we do know AI is having a massive impact on the job market right now, right? So now is the best time. If you're in one of those fields, now is the best time to create passive income. We have rising national debt. That's throwing askew all sorts of things within our economy. But essentially, it is the right thing to do. Financial literacy, it's an easy thing to overlook, and the repercussions of it are lifelong lasting. So build financial literacy, understand what your options are. Chris says tomorrow is definitely coming. Yeah. Time to start
Lucky
planning
for,
today.
lucky
100,
for us.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So establish a financial literacy foundation and use it to your greatest advantage. Do a dive
And
into it. Yeah.
yep, and we're getting louder, right? People are saying we need a solution to what's happening. Um, with everything that's happening, we want to make sure with generating more money for our financial freedom, but also, having our family members on that same journey as well to creating more financial freedom. So how do we get there, and how do we get there faster?
Okay, Chris, good one. Okay. Yeah, wait, a foundation? You need a financial foundation. You can build almost anything on a financial foundation, right?
Right,
You can't build a business without a financial foundation. Um,
right,
so absolutely, right? The financial foundation comes first.
right. You lay that down and start building the plan on
Yeah.
top of that.
So people are, right? We see people looking for answers. Where are they looking? One of our colleagues, she shared the story of how she came across Tardis so many years ago. She said she was this person digging through the labyrinth of online information, trying to find what's true, what's valid, what's not, what's made up, is it even real? How do you discern that? What does all of that look like? Right? I expedite your process to getting there. You don't create anything without actually facilitating action. So looking is a great place to start, but action has to come next.
I think we've all been that person at some point in time, right?
Yeah, looking for
Mhm.
some kind of a solution, whether it was financial or otherwise, but absolutely. Okay. This comes from Cynthia, who I actually saw is on this call, and I will call her out because she will shout this from the mountaintops. She did join Tardus because she didn't know how to do due diligence. She lost $200,000, again, because she didn't understand the criteria for investing. And that's a painful, painful loss for anybody, for everybody. We work with a lot of people who have experienced financial trauma.
Mhm.
It's very real. When you get hit in the finances, it takes a concerted effort to recover from that. So anybody that's on here that has experienced that, it's 100% valid. But figure out what you need to build your foundation, take the steps to do that.
And what I think what's unique about our system and how the TARDIS process works is we start with your goals, right? We're not the same. Even if we had the exact same investments, our life doesn't look the same. Our goals don't look the same. So we start with what are your goals? How can we get there? And then we use a patented snowball calculator to build that roadmap so that we have some clear milestones along the way for crafting what our success actually looks like. And what's best about that is when we move into the second step of this process, we start using our cash flow to create that passive income. So there's no need to save or wait because we have access to that now. You start with your criteria, your due diligence, you start to implement the process and then accelerate the results, right? TARDIS always makes sure that that you pick the right investments that work towards your goals, right? We never take a commission from any of our vendors, which allows us to stay solely in your corner. And we really celebrate once we start hitting those milestones and hitting those goals as well. So this system together basically gets us to working together to reach our goals.
Yeah. Why are we having this conversation now? We do have a rapidly evolving financial landscape, right? Why are you here today? Because, right, there was something that happened, something that you came to a realization of that needed changing. Nothing else is going to change until we take action. I encourage you as an experienced client. Like I said, I've been around since 2017. When I came on as a client, I had $900 in monthly cash flow. We had to sell a business to actually accumulate $900 a month in cash flow. I was given roughly a 20-year timeline, and my coach helped us whittle that down to where now we have flexibility. We get to go, we get to travel, we get to explore and take our family while we still have littles to go and do these things that I seriously was looking out on the timeline like I'm hoping I can do these when I'm in my 60s. Maybe I'll be able to take a couple of grandchildren along. So I will vouch for the value of the journey, but ultimately, why did you come here today? Why are we having this conversation now? Figure out what it is you need to see or do to take action to move forward. It's worth it. Your future self will thank you for saying yes to achieving your goals. Right? What do we do at Tardus? We do have a proven system and education. A patent is not given to everybody. So our system is proven. We have the education, excuse me, to back it, right? We will provide you with the education that you need for every step of the way. It's personalized to exactly where you're coming from, where you're going to. We put you with a coach that's going to match where you are, okay? It's one-on-one guidance. You're going to achieve sustainable passive monthly income. Again, we're going for passive. This isn't a side hustle. This isn't changing time for dollars. This is understanding how to make your money work for you with momentum and ultimately achieve financial freedom and being able to go beyond Snowball 101 in the meantime in all the ways that you can use your income snowball. Again, cover that vacation, I pay for the car expenses, buy the new refrigerator that broke. If you have real estate, it's covering those rental expenses. We have seen it all, okay? And we can walk you through how you can create an income snowball to cover it. So you can scan this QR code to schedule. Hi, Dawn. You're welcome. Thank you for being here today. Use this QR code to schedule with one of our wealth coaches, right? You'll end up with Kimberlee or one of our wealth coaches on the team. We have a fantastic team, right? Most of our wealth coaches are our clients. They're coming, they can share personal experience. They can walk you through exactly what it will look like for you. Okay. And I want to open it up to a question. Kimberlee, what would you add here? I did a lot of talking.
Well, I think that for most people, right, we get the traditional education and we don't understand that even with a low amount of cash flow, we can create some real change. Anything we've ever done in your life, it's that consistent small steps. And ultimately, putting a system in place, letting that system run for you and monitoring it, it turns this investment into a passive income investment to have that coming through. So the possibilities from where you're starting now to where you could be are light years ahead. I just had an annual review today with someone who had invested over $67,000 last year. And seeing these types of successes really fuels their desire to get to that next level, right? So no matter where you're starting at, this person's now looking at purchasing rentals and building a rental portfolio. So it's exciting for us as coaches to see how they go. Oh, Cynthia said, where did they start? So this person basically started out with $900 in cash flow. By the time we got to their mid-year review, right? So you're working through, we have milestones. They realize that, hey, this is working. I need to create more cash flow than I possibly can. So started out with Tardus. Hey, I have $900. What can I do with that? Started to work the plan and then started to create some real success. So no matter where you are, if you have that cash flow coming in, of the $500, let's build a plan for you. Let's get started. Starting today is always better than starting tomorrow, right?
Yeah. I was actually, one of our colleagues wrote a book, and I'm reading his book right now. It's a fantastic book. Uh, I'd be happy to share share it with you.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
but he put in there, right, when is the best time to, right, it's coming from that expression, when's the best time to plant a tree, right? When is the
Mhm.
best time to make change happen? Well, 20 years ago. When's the
Right.
second best time? It's today. Okay, you
Yeah.
can look up his, yeah, before you need a tree. Yes, exactly. Um, Kinesia, what if you have less than 500 fixed monthly? Is this excess when you say fixed? Is this excess monthly cash flow? And absolutely, I we took a client on board just a couple of weeks ago. She had 300 in monthly cash flow. One thing your wealth coach can do is look for other creative ways, even if it's temporary, to free up a little extra cash flow, defer something that doesn't have long-term repercussions, right? Defer something, free up some cash flow. Like, there's creative hacks, do you get a tax refund at the end of the year? It's not because the government's being nice, it's because you're paying them more than what you're supposed to be paying them. There's ways to make those adjustments to provide you with additional monthly cash flow. Your wealth coach can look for those things. Um, yeah, disposable income, cash flow, what's left over. Thank you, Cynthia. Yeah,
Yeah.
what's left over at the end of the month after you've paid your expenses. Even if we're talking minimum payments on debt payments, this could be credit card payments, this could be, car payments. If you pay extra on your mortgage, or, you pay your mortgage every 2 weeks, so you make two extra mortgage payments a year, whatever that looks like, again, your wealth coach can look for hidden areas of cash flow to help you free it up and use that, right? Are you paying it to a life insurance policy? Well, maybe that's an option too. There's a lot of hacks, I'll say. Yeah. 463 a month left over after bills. Yes. Yes, Kinesia, it works. Okay. It really does. You can shoot me. I'm gonna drop my email in the chat. Okay, you feel free to shoot me an email. I am the wealth coach manager, and so any questions that are really specific to where you are, I'd be happy to walk through with you. Okay, Tonya.Lessley@Tardus.com. Okay, I see some questions in the Q&A.
Okay.
William, oh, you're stuck trying to copy and paste the Tardus criteria PDF off your Chromebook into the GPT instruction box. Yeah,
Oh, that's for the AI workshop. Yeah. Okay. That was excellent, by the way, that Tanisha, when she walked through how to create your criteria, the risk assessment. Um, I'm not sure if I can give live instructions on how to do that. Is there some place you can check in for that? Or is there a replay
yeah,
sent out? Yeah,
yeah. Cynthia, was
yeah.
there a replay sent out? Sent out? The yes, I know the GPTs do not like PDFs. So that might
Oh,
be oh, it's also on YouTube. So
oh, okay.
William, you can also use right, you can type in the criteria, though it takes more time if it's not working. But okay,
Mhm.
Chris, you were discussing with Desmond, okay? Some investment opportunities like to use with Tardus. Okay, 100K. What does 100K look like? Well, you know, as so that's very specific because what the rest of everything else looks like, Chris, is going to be very specific to where you are. Um, Desmond can definitely walk you through what that additional 100K would look like. Again, it's layering it in. We need to go for diversification, creating, layers of predictable cash flow. So it's usually the best solution is almost always don't dump it in one dump. You get a better growth and better long-term predictability when it's rolled in and layered in. Kimberlee, what else would you add to that with a 100K additional
Well,
artificial fueling into a snowball?
well, to your point, right? When we layer it that way, we get more diversification, right? We have more investments, and also that mitigates our risk. But the great thing about Tardis is that we start with your goals. So Chris, you might have a high risk tolerance, right? You might be like, hey, bet the farm kind of a thing. And then your investments and your strategy might look a little different than someone else who's saying, hey, I have this $100,000, but I really want to be conservative with it. How do I build it over time? So when we talk about the returns that we get, it really is dependent on what investment we use to support the income snowball. And the best part about that is once you're working with a coach and you have your income snowball calculator, you can forecast what that looks like. Say, I'm really interested in this investment. What would that look like long term, right? And then depending on, the performance of that investment and so forth, we can track historical performance against what's actually happening. So I think that Desmond is the perfect person to help you walk through that because he has your financial information. He knows and understands what your goals are. And, what are we going to do with that $100,000 to get to our goals faster, I think. So taking into consideration those things.
Yeah. And Chris, I dropped my email in the chat. Don't hesitate to use it, okay? I'd be
Yes.
more than happy to hear from you. Let's see. Won't the taxes take a bite from your returns from the investments? If you assume, um, what's the question? Okay. If you assume 6% LOC interest and 8% return on fast burning fuel. Okay, this is a good question. We're discussing, okay, so when we're talking about an LOC, right? A line of credit is an LOC, home equity line of credit, personal line of credit, business line of credit. They all have the same, the a very similar structuring. So LOC, 6% interest on an LOC. We are looking at simple interest. Okay. When you're talking about purchasing fast burning fuel assets, you're discussing an 8% return, is what you pointed out here. 8%, we're talking about amortized interest. We're trying to compare apples to oranges, so to speak. These are very different creatures in how they function. And this isn't interest arbitrage. Okay. So when, right, you again, a wealth coach is going to be the best person to walk you through this very specifically, but a simple way to calculate. Let's take, right, let's say that you're producing, or your 6% LOC, your line of credit is what you're paying. Let's say you do a $10,000 investment. I'm going to pull out my calculator. Okay. $10,000, even at, right, that full draw, a 6%, that's $50. Okay. That's the interest. And that's the interest portion, even at that greatest amount. Okay. Now, when we're looking at 8% return on fast burning fuel assets. So you've obviously already had a conversation with somebody. So 8% return, we're talking about an amortized return. For this, you're looking at closer to $350 a month in cash flow produced. Okay. You're also looking at, right, with these numbers, you probably have about 1,500, and I might be speaking over the experience of some people here, so bear with me. $1,500 a month in cash flow. I'm guessing that those are the parameters that you're talking about with the interest rates that you gave there. Now, how do taxes fit into this? Okay, so taxes are at that, let's say, 25% tax rate, right? You're only being taxed because you're recycling your money. This is what the banking industry is built on and why it's so profitable. Okay, listen to that part again. This is why the banking industry works so well. What Tanisha has done here is put it into, Tanisha, our CEO, has put it into a methodology that can be used by somebody with $500 a month in cash flow or less. Okay, that 25% tax rate that you're discussing is only on the 8% return, annualized return on the fast burning fuel assets that you purchase. So an amortization calculator could help you calculate that, but I wouldn't want to go too far into the weeds because then it gets more complicated. I would encourage you, it sounds like you've maybe already met with a wealth coach, but by all means, please carry on that conversation so they can walk you through what it would actually look like for you. Okay. Elaborate on the rate of return that can realistically be expected. Okay, if I'm to speak personally, my fast burning fuel assets, right, I will invest at 8% return, at 11% return. Somebody tells you they're getting a 25% return, I would probably shy away from that. Okay, now this is talking about an annualized return, right? This is ROI. We're not discussing a cash on cash return, which is different. Again, there's many ways to talk about these, so they're not used interchangeably. Let's see, risk. How many of them have not paid out? Okay, well, let's use, right, many people are familiar with the platform of Prosper. Prosper is a peer-to-peer lending platform, okay? Their advertised return is typically somewhere around 8 to 10% of what they advertise on there that investors typically see. Now, this takes into account the loss or the fall off that investors usually will experience. It's inevitable, right? That we have some kind of a fall off. That return that they're telling you takes that into account. Okay. But again, the name of the game is diversification and the nature.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Kimberlee, do you have anything to add on to that? The nature of which ones are less likely to pay out? Real estate, private debt, CRE, notes.
So I think this is when we look at the overall investment and where Tardus really helps you analyze these things, right? We're teaching you the income snowball strategy, but we're also helping you create your own specific criteria for investing. Now the Income Snowball has criteria, what is what makes it a dependable strategy, right? If we stay within the criteria, typically we stay within those guardrails. So when we talk about creating criteria, doing our due diligence for some of these investments, we understand that all investments have risk, right? And then how can we mitigate that risk? And that's where the Income Snowball Strategy really steps up, just by stacking those investments. The pure strategy itself takes away a lot of that risk by stacking it. So it essentially, say one of your fast burning fuels or one of your investments had a hiccup or it didn't pay out, it's not going to derail your entire Income Snowball Strategy, because we've built the foundation and the walls around that to support that as well. So it's something your coach can definitely help you walk through, and it's something that your coach will continue to walk through in your session. So it's not like a one and done, right? You have questions, you learn, and you actually get better and ask, different questions along the journey as well. So creating your criteria, doing the due diligence, that's really where the strategy comes into play to support it long term.
Yeah. Okay, Chris asked, working with an inheritance and you don't want to burn it off. Yes, Chris, do something with that, right? I'm guessing this is the same Chris that said you met with Desmond. Desmond is really great at what he does. Visit with Desmond, send me an email, whatever that looks like to get that to the next step. Okay. I see a comment about finances, about spouses being on the same page. Yes, being on the same page, while it may never, right, our goal is to get people in the same book. I don't know if there's ever the same page. I will speak from experience, right? I've been married for 23 years. So if we're ever on the same page, it's usually short-lived, and thank goodness for that. Because
Yeah.
if we were being the same page, then boy, that would be boring. And you know, so
Well, and also I think when Chris is talking about that inheritance, like money is inherently emotional, especially for us, right? And making decisions like that inheritance, you feel like, oh, I don't want to burn it, I don't want to lose it. Or managing your kids' money, sometimes that's a heavy burden. Oh, I have this, inheritance for my child, how can I make sure that long term it's going to benefit them? And this is really where your coach comes in, because he can give you an outside opinion. And I've seen couples, right? You have one couple who's all into investing, and you have another couple, another part of the couple who's very skeptical. And just showing up to the meetings together, talking to your coach, talking to someone who has no emotions about the decisions that you're making, really can help you look at it from, I guess, a higher level, right? How can I implement these things? And then knowing that you're making the right decision, and then giving you some talking points to, discuss with your spouse. I've had many meetings with partners who the spouse wasn't on board at first, but then when we get to our mid-year, they've learned so much that they now have more confidence in each other. So it's not necessarily the TARDUS system as well. But when you're doing something together and you're working towards a future and a synced up goal that you have together, I think that showing up for the meetings and having a coach walk you through that really can get you in alignment with what you're moving forward for. Yeah.
right. And open the door for communication. Understanding where each person is and why they're there is vitally important. And understanding how to navigate each other's boundaries when it comes to our finances so that we can make cohesive decisions that everybody is confident with. This is important. What it usually takes is the education of, right, understanding what your best options are, why you would why you would make those choices, and why you wouldn't make those choices. And
Right.
working with a coach, as Kimberlee said, right, you're provided with that information, how to find that information and how to apply it to your particular situation. So, right, getting your spouse onto a meeting, the education needed to open the mindset. And right, many of us have been up against that. I come from a very traditional investing mindset, And so when I came across Tardus, right, I still get put in check by my coach. I'm still a client, and my coach will say, why are you thinking about it that way? Why are you saving to do that? Why not use your snowball to do that? And to this day, to this day, I think that's right because I can walk others through how to do it, and it's a default mindset. It runs
Mm,
deep. Okay,
yeah.
client fee, the Tardus fee is about 600 per month. The fee to work with us at Tardus is 5,995. This is an upfront 1 year fee. Covers everything for the first year. So yeah, I mean it's in that area. Uh how much income does an average? Oh my goodness. I don't know if we have an average. I mean, we work with people who have $60,000 a month in cash flow, and we work with people who have $350 a month in cash flow. The average is a vast span. We work with people who have already been retired for 10 years that have realized they're going to outlive what they set aside.
Yeah.
And we work with people fresh out of high school, even college. So average, the person standing next to you. So, right, what does it take? Oh, does it justify the Tardis fee? Absolutely. Okay, if you look at $500 a month in cash flow at the end of year one, using your strategy, you will have built at least $6,000 in asset value. Okay, so this is money that you've put into your strategy in addition to what it's earned. But bear in mind that it's producing regular, predictable monthly cash flow that's going to pay you for years. So not only do you have an asset value that exceeds anything and everything you've put into it, it's still producing cash flow for years to come. And it's a lot to wrap your head around when I just verbalize that. So if you haven't seen it, if you haven't had a wealth coach walk you through what that looks like, look at it. Ask him to show you it on your calculator. Where is my
Yeah.
asset value at 1 year? How much have I put into my strategy? Perfect. Okay.
You actually build the plan and it's visual. I hear some people say, Kimberlee, I'm really visual. And so the calculator has the graphs and you're able to actually see, okay, once I start to implement these steps, I can see the cash flow coming in, I can see it growing. So it
Yeah.
does really keep you on track.
Okay, I see, Joseph. How much to pay Tardis after year one? Okay, we have 4 membership levels. They start at $199 a month, and they go up to our invitation VIP program, which is $779 a month. Um, right at the end of the year, you get to pick. You can always upgrade to the next level. Um, what your coach suggests for you is really based on where you are, what you're looking to accomplish in the next year, how much support time with a coach that you need to do that to make sure that it's expedited. The long term, right? Somebody, it's you're looking at it the long term. How much time do I take to accomplish everything I can possibly accomplish in this year? Go forward with that. Okay. So, I saw another question. Oh, Rob, where is your question now?
Well,
Um,
also to piggyback on what you said, Tanya, about how much does the average Tardis client earn over the course of the year? So you'll be making investments. The passive income will start coming in. The value in Tardis is the mindset shift. I see lots of clients who traditionally start out with, how can I make my money work for me? And these aren't, I mean, it's not necessarily um, dependent on where you're starting from, right? Having that education, being able to implement the income snowball strategy, but having the coaching to facilitate that type of a mindset shift where now you're looking at things different, right? How can I maybe save a little to put more towards my income snowball to help pay for that vacation next year, or to help, maybe I can go, my mother-in-law is sick. Maybe I can go take a month off and just go be with her and let my income snowball cover that. So when we think about saving for retirement and that financial freedom that we're looking for, there's a lot of financial freedom to be had today and in the steps that we work through. So I think your coach uniquely qualified to walk you through some of those things too.
Yeah. Okay, Rob, since this is a basic call, can you break out a bit more of the mechanics of starting a snowball? Finding current cash flow. Okay, current cash flow, right? What's left over at the end of the month after you've paid your expenses that have to get paid, right? We're looking at if you're kind of in a crunch for creating cash flow, what are those minimum debt payments? Because chances are we can use your cash flow to build more cash flow more quickly than what you can pay down extra payments. So cash flow at the end of the month. Basics number two, some form of leverage. Why leverage? Because leverage creates momentum. Most of us need or at least would happily benefit from having momentum in our strategy. Get us there faster. Why not?
Yeah.
Investing other people's money for your benefit. What are these forms of momentum? A line of credit, personal line of credit, business line of credit, home equity line of credit, cash value life insurance, margin a current investment account. There's a lot of options that you can do this with. Let's see, borrow to invest for spread. Yes, okay. Running through some of those basic numbers. Let's say that you have $1,500 a month in cash flow, right? On your line of credit, you're going to leverage $9,000. With it, you purchase fast burning fuel assets. These are short-term amortized investments. Okay, your assets are producing, I'm going to use just rough numbers, $300 a month in cash flow. So now you take your $1,500 a month, your $300 from your assets you've purchased, and you apply it to your line of credit. Okay, $1,800 a month. We're going to rinse and repeat. It takes about 5 months to replenish that $9,000 that you leveraged. Okay, now we repeat. You're going to do it again with, now you've increased your monthly cash flow to $600 per month. You're still only allocating your $1,500 a month. Okay, but now we have 600 from our assets we purchased and our 1,500, 2,100 that goes back to the line of credit. Okay, rinse and repeat. Now it takes about 4 months to replenish that $9,000. We're ready to do it one more time. Okay, now we have 900 from the assets we've purchased. Again, only 1,500 per month has come from our cash flow. Okay, now we have 900 coming in, 1,500 coming in. We have 2,400 that goes back to the line of credit. We replenish it in a little over 3 months. Okay, so in 1 year, with $1,500 a month, you've produced 900 in monthly cash flow using your momentum, your leverage safely. You're well diversified. You have 3 separate independently operating layers of cash flow to provide you with diversification. You might even, within those, you're diversifying down to $10, $25, right? We're about mitigating loss. Okay. So those are the very snowball basics. Kimberlee ran through them earlier with like $5,000 a month, right? So, or excuse me, $5,000 line of credit.
Yeah.
Those are the basics. Rob, did I hit on what you were inquiring on? How would a margin account work? Yeah, if you have, sometimes people can borrow at 4% against a Schwab account, something of that sort. If you have current assets, right? Market-based assets, sometimes people can use that. It takes a mere phone call inquiry to see if that's an option for you. Any kind of current existing investment accounts. Some people have margined against retirement accounts of various kinds. So it's worth the inquiry. If you already have an account set up to do it, why not use that? Go back to the slide. Yeah, we'll run back there quickly since we have just a couple of minutes left. Excuse me as I scroll through here. This one is what you're asking, Valerie.
So also when thinking about this, right? this model was based off of, it's creating about 160. So roughly, probably our line of credit, our investment size is close to about that $5,000 mark. So we're looking, $800 cash flow, $900 cash flow at this type of investment, working to create almost $640 in less than 12 months.
Yeah. Is that helpful, Valerie?
I think Chris said you need a coach, financial advisor. So I wanted to come back to the team members too, because when you start to build your financial plan, right? Your income grows, your passive income grows, your knowledge grows, your experience grows. At some point, right? We need more team members, but I don't know if anybody's ever been in a group project in class where someone didn't pull their weight and how frustrating that is for everybody else, right? So it's very important that we look at our team members and say who's on our team, who's in our corner, who's actually going to help us reach our goals. And that's something that your coach can do. So if it's time for, if tax strategy is something very important and we have, we're at a need that our tax liability is big, maybe it's time to, add a tax strategist, someone that's going to look at the future and say what kind of investments can we look at. So adding team members, I think, is vital to success, but adding them at the right time and making sure they're the right person is sometimes a process. So working with your coach can definitely help you navigate that as well.
Okay, Rob, let's see. Michael, how do you become a team member? You can, a team member as in what Kimberlee was just referring to. Um, you can apply at tardus.com/partner. Okay. PARTNER. You can look on our website, scroll all the way to the bottom. You can find the link down there. Okay, great high level example. Yeah, you're welcome. Rob, okay, one follow-up. Okay, so a couple of assumptions we're working with here. Okay, in both of these examples, the slide that you're looking at and the one that I walked through, a couple of assumptions. These are 8% purchased assets. Okay, return on investment, not cash on cash return. That's a very different number. Okay. And the other assumption is we're assuming a 3-year amortization. Okay. So each of these right from here, we're going to keep going for 3 years. After 3 years, this will fall off. So there's one key thing at play here is at some point, right, when we talk about getting down to 3 months and replenishing that line of credit, we are going to start to be under leveraged, meaning we're slowing momentum when we get faster than that. So we bump up the line of credit. With the numbers that I was using, we would bump it to 15. So now you're purchasing assets in $15,000 rounds, meaning your cash flow produced is about $500 per month. Why do we do this? Again, we're maximizing time frames. Okay. Least input, we're going for passive. Least time input. But in addition, we have to cover for the fact that later on, you're going to have assets that fall off. That's okay, because now you've already replaced them with a larger number. Okay. So you have to bump up that line of credit. And again, it's all calculated into that. Mark, you're not a fan of stock market. Nice. I don't want to own physical real estate. Does this work with other investments? Yes, we are investment agnostic. What does that mean? We are not attached to your investments in the way that a financial advisor is. We neither coach nor company in any way, shape, or form takes a cut or a profit on what you're making on your investments. Okay, so we can advocate for you. At the end of the day, we are an education company with a patented strategy. Okay, so how does this work with other investments? Fantastic. When I came to Tardus, I had one piece of real estate, and it took my coach a year to talk me into selling that piece of real estate so that I could, because of my mindset, so that I could turn that into something that pays for itself to something that produces $700 a month in cash flow. I had to see the proof in the pudding, apparently, but it worked. He finally talked me into it. And so, yes, existing assets, great. You want an expert in your corner that's going to say, have you considered doing this? Why have you not considered doing this? How do we poke into your mindset to see all of the options that you have available to you to maximize where you are? So it does work with other investments. You don't have to do real estate. You don't
Or
have
the
to do
stock
stock
market.
market. Yeah, yeah. Cash value life insurance, mortgage notes, absolutely. We love them. We love them both.
Great tools to have in your toolbox, right? I've heard people, actually heard someone say today how life-changing Tardus has been in their world, and it had added it to their toolbox. And those are some of the tools they already had in their toolbox. So having them work together in a fluid type of way, right? Strategies that work together are going to ultimately get us there faster than when they are not working together.
Yeah. Okay, Valerie, another question you asked in this example, are you paying off the leverage? Absolutely. You don't want to go for over leveraging. If you've not paid off your leverage, it is not time to rinse and repeat. Okay, we're not about accumulating, leverage or extra risk. It's about using it smartly and always to your advantage. So yes, it's paid off. And you still have cash flow from that layer that you purchased with that leverage. Would a cash infusion to start besides monthly cash flow accelerate growth? It sure can. It's different for everybody. What is the best way to infuse your strategy with cash flow? Okay, it depends on what you currently have for cash flow, what current assets you have, those kinds of things. But yes, most generally speaking, it's something that you're going to layer in again for diversification and making the most of that existing asset that you have. So yes, you can layer it into your strategy. For example, let's say if you have 1,500 a month in cash flow outside of it, or if you have nothing, but you'll have cash flow in a year. Okay, well, let's say you have, $50,000. So for that 10 months, we can layer in a few $1,000s a month and call it your cash flow. Okay. You get to see it working. You get to see it happening. Your money doesn't all disappear, so to speak, at once. It gets layered in. You're purchasing assets that are producing cash flow as it continues to grow. Kimberlee, what would you add to that?
I would just say that your coach really looks at your overall picture, right? When we're looking at what our overall plan is, we want to have our dollars working for us at their highest and best use, right? We want them to go out and work really hard and bring some back of their friends so they can go out and work harder again. So I think that being able to have coaching to help us move forward with that is instrumental in being successful.
Absolutely. Okay, Rob, I gotta answer this last question, right? So at some point, would your cash flow feed the process no more LOC, or is an LOC just scaled more? You have both options. What about cash on hand? Yes, yes, you could use cash on hand as your LOC. Again, investing other people's money. Why not do both? Really,
Mhm.
if you have that as an option, why wouldn't you? Um, I using, let's see, some point, yes. Okay. If you're shown a financial freedom date, that's when your strategy is solely self-sustaining. Okay. We walk our clients through what's called an exit strategy, right? Before they reach their financial freedom date, what do you want this to look like? How are your assets protected? Are they in a trust? Are they in a business? What's the structure for all of that? Because that's vital, right? Are you building a family legacy? How is that protected? How is that ready for inheritance? In addition, what type of assets do you want in there? The snowball assets are ideal for building that cash flow and doing it quickly. Okay. But then do you want to branch into long-term assets? Again, we're going beyond Snowball 101. Okay. So bear with me. Do you want to branch into long-term assets? Okay, great. So now we have clients who have fast burning fuel, slow burning fuel assets. All right. So at what point What do you want that long-term strategy to look like? We'll walk you through that exit strategy. Do you want to continue with some of both? It's absolutely an option. Yes, you would continue to use your leverage in that case. Okay, if not, great. Let's structure, let's reallocate to areas of all slow burning fuel assets, and you have a portfolio built that way. You can have both. There's no one way, all one other way. We have some people who say, I love fast burning fuel. It's predictable. I know what I'm getting. I know what to expect. I want all of my exit strategy to contain that. Okay, perfect. Or I only want slow burning fuel assets. Okay, perfect. Right? Or somewhere in the middle, as what many people are.
Yes.
Chris, one more. Just a thought. If your cash flow is coming from a credit card with great benefits and it's paid off by the income at the end of the month, then the benefits become unlimited. Yeah, spot on.
Yeah, double dipping. Let's get
Is
those
that a
points and
question?
also
Yeah.
well, we like to layer strategies. Everyone, if we can get a system in place and then another system that works well with the snowball, why not put them together, right? And your coach is excellent at being able to look at that and see how they work together.
Okay. Oh, are there any stock market investments that are amortized? I think there's almost any type of asset that exists, in all honesty. They're often in stock markets, right? Your coach can walk you through how to structure it to pay out like an amortized asset. But there are certain things that are amortized. And again, your coach would be able to walk you through. Your wealth coach will show you what that will look like for you. Your client success coach, once you're onboarded, will actually walk you through exactly how to structure that for yourself if that's what you really want to do.
And Tonya, to your point about exit strategy, right? In this lifetime, we're all going to make an exit at some point. So having that plan in place, whether it's a legacy you're leaving to your heirs, or if it's, living the life you want to live and liquidate your portfolio at some point, your coach can give you a plan in place so that you can do that in a safe way to help protect you in the future moving forward.
Yeah. Rob, you asked if you can meet with us. Yes. I'm gonna drop my email in here. You can send me an email, and if you want to connect with Kimberlee, I will connect you with Kimberlee. It's tonya.leslie@tardus.com. Feel free to
And
shoot me an inquiry. Yeah, sorry, Kimberlee.
I just want to say that this is so much fun for our coaches, right? We love what we do. We get an opportunity to work with people, meet them where they're at, and help them see the vision. Because sometimes you can't. Sometimes you're so hard working through the weeds, you can't see the vision. You can't even realize what that possibility would look like. So if you're in a place where you have the cash flow, you're interested, you want to create a different future than what you see available for you now, just get on a strategy call. Our
Yeah.
coaches love the interaction. We love getting to have high level conversations about strategy. It's one of the most fun that I get to have in meetings. So if you're wondering, or if you've thought about it before, just get on a call and work through those questions, talk to the coach, and then you can move forward from there.
Here's a QR code. If you're not on your phone, you can scan it, or you can go to tardus.com, hit the book a strategy session, red button at the top to book with a wealth coach. Okay, or I drop my email, tonya.lessley@tardus.com. Feel free to email me. I will connect you with Kimberlee or any one of our wealth coaches. I'd be happy to find somebody that would be a great fit for you. Okay. Thank you guys for coming today. Um, it was great to be here to answer these questions. Again, taking action is step number one. Really book that strategy call to find out really what your possibilities are.
Yes, thank you. And I look forward to seeing you all in a strategy session soon.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.